Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation on the Vision Splash Down Payment Assistance Program administered by San Pablo Economic Development Corporation. We are excited to share with you the unique opportunities these programs provide for home ownership and financial assistance in our community. Today, we'll cover eligibility requirements for both programs, how to apply and what to expect during the process, and key benefits for participating in Vision Splash. So before we get started, I'd like to go over a few quick housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and the recording will be available on our website. Any resources mentioned during the presentation will also be available on our website. All attendees are muted, and if you are having issue with audio, you may need to click on the webinar screen to enable audio. We welcome your questions. Please type them in the Q&A box and we will answer at the end of the webinar. So the first program we are discussing is Splash. Splash is specifically designed to assist first-time homebuyers and families in San Pablo with down payment and closing cost assistance. So let's begin by answering the question, what is a Splash? Splash stands for San Pablo Loan Assistance for Sustainable Housing. And the mission of the Splash program is to help low-income individuals become first-time homebuyers in the city of San Pablo. Let's dive into the key highlight of the Splash Down Payment Assistance Program. The Splash program offers deferred payment or silent second loans. This means that no payments are required on the loan until the property is either sold, transferred, or refinanced. For the loan amount, home buyers can receive up to 20% of the purchase price of the home with a maximum loan amount of $100,000. The loan interest is calculated as the greater of shared appreciation, or 3% per annum simple interest. The Splash loan can be repaid over a period of up to 30 years. So now let's review the qualifying criteria for the Splash program. To be eligible, you must meet the following requirements. You must be a first-time home buyer. This means that no household member may have owned any interest in real property during the 3 years period prior to the household's application date. Your total gross household income must not exceed 80% of the area median income. Additionally, your total assets should not exceed $250,000. The property purchased with San Pablo funds must be your primary residence. This means you must continuously occupy the property as your principal place of residence. The loan funds provided through Splash may only be used for down payment assistance or non-recurring closing costs. They cannot be used for other purposes. You are required to complete a HUD-approved first-time homebuyer education class and obtain a certificate of completion. All persons listed on the mortgage must have a minimum FICO credit rating of 620 points from all 3 major credit agencies. Meeting these criteria is essential for qualifying for the Splash program. Discuss the property eligibility criteria. The property you are purchasing must meet the following requirements. The home you buy must be located within the incorporated city of San Pablo. Eligible property types include single-family homes, condominium, and townhomes. For a better view of the eligible areas, please refer to the map on the screen. You can also scan the QR code provided for a detailed and interactive map. Before finalizing your purchase, you must obtain and provide pest and home inspection reports from licensed professionals. At the close of escrow, you must obtain title insurance in the amount of a Splash program loan. Ensuring that the property meets this criteria is crucial for the Splash program. Now let's review the income eligibility requirements. So on the left side of the slides, you will see the required income documents you need to provide. These documents are first pay stub of the calendar year, 3 most recent pay stubs, most recent tax return, most recent W-2, all income earning assets, and for the self-employed income, we need 2 years tax returns and year to enrollment date profit and loss statement. On the right side of the slides, You will see a table showing the 80% AMI limits for contra costa county. These limits vary based on the household size, and it's important to ensure that your income does not exceed these limits to qualify for the SPLASH program. For a detailed look at income limits for other areas, you can scan the QR code provided on the slide. So now let's walk through the program procedure for applying to the SPLASH Down Payment Assistance Program. Start by completing the interest and eligibility form. Next, you will need to submit the required income documents for an initial assessment. Once your initial assessment is complete and you are considered as potentially qualified, you will submit all necessary loan documents. The underwriting process is then conducted to determine your qualification for the program. If there are any conditions attached to the loan, they will be presented to you. The loan is then reviewed and approved by FHLB representative at the city level. Once approved, the loan documents are sent to escrow. We will then sign the loan documents. The loan funds are wired to escrow and the transaction is completed. And finally, the transaction closes and you are officially a new homeowner. Now I hand it to my colleague Aurora for the WISH program.
So the WISH program is one of the programs that we administer through the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. Next slide. What is WISH? A workforce initiative subsidy for homeownership. What is the mission of WISH? To help aspiring homeowners overcome one of the biggest barriers to achieving their dream and building wealth through real estate. Program highlights, it is a grant. It's a 4-to-1 matching grant, which means that the borrower can contribute a maximum of $7,701 and obtain a maximum grant amount of $30,806 in down payment assistance and closing costs. It is a forgivable loan fund. 20% of it is forgiven every year. You reside in the property. After 5 years, the grant is forgiven. Sometimes we have a couple questions where people will ask, what happens if I decide to refinance or sell my property before 5 years? Then you have to pay a portion of that grant back. Qualifying criteria, again, you must be a first-time buyer, not own real property within the last 3 years. You must meet the income requirements and the household size for your area, and must be a primary residence, which means no investors can apply for this. Use of funds is for down payment assistance and non-reoccurring closing cost, and a home buyer education class is required for you to be able to apply for these funds. There is no credit score required for the WISH grant, but again, you have to have a first mortgage, so that is dependent on your first lender. On your left-hand side, you will see some of the required documents, pretty similar to SPLASH. I just want to point out 2 things. If you're a W-2 borrower, we only need 1 year of your tax return. If you're a self-employed borrower and you own your own business, we're going to need 2 years of tax returns and a profit and loss statement from the entire year to the time of application. So for example, if you're applying right now, we would need a profit and loss from January 2024 to August 2024. And if you'd like more information about the income limits, you can scan the QR code on the right-hand side to determine if you're eligible. So the procedure, we do administer the WISH program. So you have to go to our website and fill out an interest and eligibility form, submit the income documents for initial assessment, submit the grant documents. Underwriting is done to determine the qualifications of the program. Then there are grant conditions. Sometimes our partnering bank, Mechanics Bank, may come back with some grant conditions or some explanations, and then we provide those. Grant is approved by Mechanics Bank, and then the grant documents are sent to escrow. The buyer signs the grant documents. Then once Mechanics Bank receives those documents back, funds are wired to escrow, and the home buying process is closed in regards to the WISH grant. For more information, please visit our website, www.sanpabloedc.org. For on-demand housing educational webinars. Our next one coming up will be in Spanish. it'll be explaining Wish and Splash as well, but it will be in Spanish. So if you have any colleagues, friends, family members that speak Spanish, that will be available coming up. And if you have any questions, Sepida Karismarizani is the individual that manages the program Splash and Wish, and you can reach her. This is her phone number and her email address, and this is my information if you have any questions. And now we're going to open it up for any questions. And if you do have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. Just wait a few minutes to see if there's any questions. Okay, our first questions are the grant funds limited. With the Wish program, it's a first come, first served basis. So the grant funds are limited. And usually our partner bank Mechanics will be able to let us know, there's few limited funds. We're only processing X number of applications. So please make sure to submit them by this date. So they are limited and they are first come, first served basis. And there are funds available currently. You cannot purchase a mobile home or manufactured home. It has to be a single family residence. Or a condo. One of the biggest things is sometimes we have people inquire about Wish funds or Splash, but they're not in contract. So we recommend that everyone, as soon as they have a ratified purchase agreement, that they contact us the next day that they're contacting escrow and apply for the Wish or the Splash funds. We only review applications once you are in contract. Is there any more questions? Also, one thing I want to note that, funds are not guaranteed. Sometimes we have some realtors put on their application the down payment assistance of 20% for Splash, or sometimes they'll put a $30,000 down payment from Wish to get their contracts accepted. This is not acceptable because, again, the funds aren't guaranteed and we don't know if the funds will run out. No, we do not work with properties that are in foreclosure. And what do you mean in contract? When you go shopping for a home with your realtor, you put in an offer, basically saying that you're interested in purchasing this home. Once that the seller agrees to your terms, then that's when you are now in contract and your offer is accepted. Do we have any more questions? For Wish, the property does not have to be in San Pablo. We do work with San Francisco, Contra Costa County, Alameda County. Those are the counties that we work for. If someone is purchasing a property in Sacramento or possibly like Southern California, there are other partner banks and nonprofits that work with buyers in those areas. The turnaround time can be from 2 weeks to a month. So that's why we tell people as soon as you get into contract, please reach out to us the next day. We have a question, who will help me get into the process? Again, your lender. I always tell people, give us permission to talk to your lender as soon as you get that ratified contract, and both the lender and the applicant are always CC'd. To make sure that everyone is in the loop about the process and where the funds are going. An HOA limit of condos, there's not an HOA limit on the condos, but again, you have to have a debt to income ratio of less than 35%. So if you have an HOA that's very, very high, you might not meet the threshold of 35% DTI. I think there's a question, my lender or you all, I think it's important that the lenders always, we do not work with Solano County. Do we have any more questions? Also, the lenders have to have a valid NMLS license for the lenders that we work with. Also, you do not have to be approved by us. Your lender doesn't. They just have to have a valid license to lend in California. So if your lender does have any questions, please have them reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions that may come across. So for the SPLASH program, you have to be within city limits to get the SPLASH loan. You can't be in unincorporated areas of San Pablo to be able to apply for the SPLASH loan. So the property has to be in city limits. Just waiting to see if there's any more questions coming through the Q&A. Does anyone else have any other questions that we have not answered here today? And again, there's a question, can a new immigrant apply as well? You have to obtain a first mortgage with the lender of your choice. So if you qualify for a mortgage with the first lender, then that means that you're able to apply for the wish. But again, you have to have that first approval with your first lender for us to be able to give an approval and submit your application to our partnering bank, Mechanics Bank. Okay. See if there's any more questions. Okay, if you have any more questions, there's just Sapita's contact information. Best way to reach her is sapita@sanpablo.edc. She is in and out visiting different businesses as well as working with homeowners. So it's important that you do email her, probably the best way to get a hold of her. And again, thank you for all being here and learning about the Splash and Wish program. And we're here to assist. If you have any future questions, please visit our website at www.sanpabloedc.org. Thank you.